Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health, thanks so much for your time. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a licensed naturopathic physician. The initials after my name are ND. I'm currently licensed in the great state of Minnesota to practice naturopathic medicine, and I have 29 years of clinical experience helping people to recover their health with science-based, clinically verified alternatives to conventional medicine. Now, you know, it's the new year. Happy New Year, by the way. And New Year's resolutions are everywhere. One of the most frequently resolved New Year's resolutions is weight loss. And I have to tell you, for most people that embark upon this journey, it is dead in the water before it even began. Because very few people are aware of the underlying causes of weight gain. And the underlying causes are everything. And the reason that people are not aware of the underlying causes is because everybody and their brother who is talking about weight loss talks about it from the conventional medical perspective. Now, the conventional medical perspective, which is referred to as allopathic medicine. Your medical doctor practices allopathic medicine. Your nutritionist is brought up inside of an allopathic medical model. Allopathic medicine is perfect for trauma care, surgery when it's indicated, in a handful of infectious diseases. But for things like figuring out why people put on weight and how to help them gain healthy weight, it's a failed methodology. This is why Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers and all of the mainstream weight loss programs that are, recommended by Oprah and other celebrities, they have a very large failure rate because they miss the fundamental underlying concept. And they miss it because they don't understand the holistic perspective. And the holistic perspective in this regard is everything. So I'm going to show you an overlooked, key, fundamental, foundation principle that you must apply if you are attempting to lose weight. And by the way, you have not gained extra weight because of your stomach or because you have a bad gene, right? And this is what the medical doctors say. If you've tried everything else and nothing's worked, well, you have increased weight because you have a stomach. So let's cut your stomach out or put a band around it and tighten it up. Lap band surgery or gastric bypass. Yeah, it's not a good idea. Or, the medical doctors, when they fail you, they will blame you. Instead of trying to understand where their shortcomings are, they blame you. Oh, you have the bad gene. You have the fat gene. You're lazy. Can't be helped. You have the bad gene. You were born that way. It's a lie. It's nonsense. There are fundamental foundation holistic medical nutrition principles which are at play here, and which your nutritionist and your medical doctor are completely blind to. They don't see it. And if you really want to try to once and for all get on the other side of your weight gain situation, by the way, you're not alone. A third of adults in the United States, a third of children in the United States, not just overweight but obese. It's not your fault. It's conventional medical doctors' fault because it happened on their watch. And they're trying to blame you. It's not your fault. It's their fault. So let's see if we can't figure out what's going on here and employ a realistic therapeutic to help you get on the other side of this. Okay, here we go. So, when we are attempting to fix any medical condition, it would perhaps be prudent to ask the fundamental questions. What caused it in the first place? Now, it might surprise you to understand that conventionally trained medical doctors are clueless as to the operative causes of most chronic illnesses. Just do a Wikipedia search for any illness that you want. High blood pressure, congestive heart failure, arthritis, fibromyalgia, heartburn. You will see The cause of this disease is unknown, although there may be genetic links. Medical doctors are clueless as to the operative causes of most chronic illnesses. And it's a necessary question to ask. What is going on here to make people gain so much weight? Well, interestingly enough, we don't have to look very far. First thing we must consider is increased calories. Now, it's not a happy metaphor to talk about, but there was nobody in the death camps of World War II, whether they were in Germany or in the Soviet Union. There was nobody in the death camps that was overweight. It did not matter what their pre-existing health conditions were. It did not matter what their age was, their sex, their race, their creed, their color. It didn't matter. If you don't eat, you lose weight. The first, second, and third things to consider when somebody has a problem with weight is that they are eating too many calories. Exercise can also come into play, but not the way that you think. The main driver here is consumption of too many calories, which begs the question, well, what makes people eat so much? What causes cravings for food? Well, interestingly enough, we don't have to look any further than the animal community, because veterinarians have been dealing with this forever, as have livestock ranchers. When animals become deficient in essential nutrients, especially minerals, things like calcium, sulfur, selenium, zinc, magnesium, etc., 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 they start craving things. In horses, this condition is called cribbing. In other animals, it's called pica. Animals will just start eating anything they can get their mouths around. Horses will eat the wood on the fence, as you see here. It's bad if you're a horse, because if this behavior continues, the horse's teeth are destroyed, and then the horse has to be put down, because if a horse has bad teeth, it can't eat anything. And that's a problem. So what does the rational owner of the horse do? It puts minerals into their food, and the cravings for crazy things go away. The cribbing behavior disappears. Livestock ranchers have been doing this for decades, by the way. You know, when a rancher is growing cattle to slaughter for meat, the bigger the animal is at the time of sale, the more money the rancher makes, right? But the average age of a beef cattle, when they're sold for slaughter, is 4 or 5 years. So it would behoove the rancher to not have a large animal for 4 or 5 years, because they have to feed him a ton of food to keep his body weight. So what they do is, as that animal is growing, you know, for the first 4 years of its life, they put minerals and vitamins into the feed that they give the animal. And there's plenty of feed all day long in the trough, plus there's minerals and vitamins. The animal's body is replete and saturated with all of the essential vitamins, minerals, amino acids that that animal needs. So they eat what they need to, and then they walk away. Even though there's more food in the trough, they're not going to eat it. They're going to walk away from it because their bodies are satisfied. Then the cow maintains a healthy, normal kind of mid-range body weight. And then 3 or 4 months before it's time to bring that animal to the place where they're going to sell him so he can eventually be slaughtered for meat, they want to increase the weight of the animal. So what does the rancher do? They remove the vitamin and mineral supplements from the animal's food. So after a couple of weeks of not having the vitamins and minerals necessary, the supplies in the animal's body dwindle and diminish, and then the animal starts craving calories. So the animal eats everything that's in the trough and then looks for more. Eats everything that's in the trough and then looks for more, and in the course of a couple of months doubles or triples its body weight, and then the rancher sells him for way more money than he could, and everybody's happy. Now, ranchers have known how to do this for a long, long time. Why doesn't Oprah know this? because we don't have a free medical market. Do you get it? You don't have access to this type of information in conventional medical land. Conventional medicine is directed and controlled by allopathic MD, pharmaceutical centrist medicine, which is really good for trauma care and surgery, but really horrible for things like weight gain and chronic disease. You don't have access to this information because it's not mainstream. Now, just because it's not mainstream doesn't mean it's not correct. It's just not mainstream. And the truth will out, as the fella says. So, long story short, when an animal's body or a human's body becomes deficient in essential nutrients, your body starts craving food. And here's the rundown. If this tank represents your body's nutritional needs, in order for you to be optimally healthy, in order for your body to work the way that nature and God intended it to, it has to be topped off every day with 90 essential nutrients. And here's the breakdown. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 2 essential fatty acids. These nutrients are essential, which means the body needs them, but it cannot make them. Needs them, can't make them. They have to be imported. They have to go down the hatch. But I've got news for you. Sit down, put a heavy weight on top of your head, because I'm going to make your head explode. It is impossible. It's not just tricky or difficult or improbable. It is impossible to secure all of the essential nutrients that your body needs just to function normally from eating food. You cannot do it. The reason is because the lion's share of these 90 essential nutrients are minerals. 60 of 90 is 2/3, 66%. 66% of your body's essential nutrient needs are minerals, things like calcium and sulfur and magnesium and selenium and zinc, right? Only problem with a mineral is the only person that can make a mineral is God or nature, right? Plants cannot make minerals. Animals cannot make minerals. Minerals must be in the food that the animal or the human is eating, or the body is going to be deficient. It's that simple. Now, the problem here is that the only way that minerals get into the food is if they're growing in the soil that the food is planted in. If they're found in the soil that the food is planted in. If there's no calcium in the soil that the carrot is growing in, there isn't going to be any calcium in the carrot. If there's no selenium in the soil that the Brazil nut tree is growing in, there isn't going to be any selenium in the Brazil nut, and so forth and so on. And there is no place on God's green earth where all 60 minerals are found in the topsoil. We haven't found that yet. There are historical geological deposits of plant-derived, organic, Jurassic-era minerals, when minerals were abundant in the topsoil, and the plants that were growing at that time concentrated them, and then the plant died, and the fibers and the sugars and the cellulose dissolved, degraded, but the minerals don't degrade. So we have found in southern Utah mineral deposits from dinosaur-era plants which were loaded with minerals. And we have extracted the minerals from that source, purified it, and made a nutritional supplement from it. Long story short, everybody needs to be supplementing with the 90 essential nutrients. Everybody. You could own 100 acres of the most organic land on planet Earth. Only eat the food that you grew, and you would still be nutritionally deficient. The ridiculous notion that the human body can satisfy all of its nutritional needs just from eating food has been responsible for more deaths, more suffering, and more hardship than all wars combined. Unless you are supplementing with good, absorbable, multivitamin, multimineral, multi-amino acid, essential fatty acid supplements, unless you're doing that every day, It's only a matter of time until your body runs out of something and then something breaks, right? So because these nutrients are not all present in the food chain, everybody that's walking around, well, 40% your tank is full, 50%, maybe 55%, who knows? Nobody's tank is all the way full. Most people are lucky if they've got half. So your body is undersatisfied with nutrients, and then you experience the stress of life. The stress of life burns through your nutrient reserves, and then things start to break. All chronic diseases, by the way, are directly related to nutrient deficiencies. And in the case of weight gain, when your body starts running on nutrient fumes, your body-mind freaks out. And this is the fundamental difference between the holistic approach and the holistic understanding of how the body works and the conventional MD reductionistic approach. These two schools of thought are diametrically opposed. They are polar opposites. The MDs believe that there's no such thing as the spirit, no such thing as the vital force, no such thing as God, no such thing as an indwelling intelligence in the human body. They don't believe it because nobody's ever measured it. Nobody's ever dissected the soul out of the body, so therefore it doesn't exist. So to the medical doctor, your body is a bag of biochemicals waiting to break, period. And when something does break, it's not the MD's job to cure it, it's the MD's job to manage it. You don't think I'm right? Of the thousands of prescription medications which are currently available, the only ones that cure anything are antibiotics, and those are starting to fail us. Your medical doctor may be the nicest person God ever created, but they don't even know how to cure heartburn. They can manage it with the little purple pill, but they can't cure it. And these are the same people who are telling you that you're obese because you have a stomach and you need to cut your stomach out. You've got to be kidding me. Enough is enough. Now, your body has intelligence, period. Your body knows how many nutrients it needs. Your body knows when it's nutritionally satisfied, and your body knows when it's nutritionally undersatisfied. So when you start running on nutrient fumes, because you hardly have anything left in the tank, your body forces you to eat in the desperate attempt to secure nutrients to fill the tank up. So you go to Olive Garden, right? Or Red Lobster. You eat 2,000 calories in one meal. You wolf it down in about 45 minutes. You go home, and 2 hours later, you're hungry again. And then you start thinking to yourself, maybe my doctor's right. Maybe I do have the fat gene. Maybe I really am lazy. Maybe there really is something wrong with me because I just pigged out and I'm still hungry. Well, that's because the food that you were eating didn't have the nutrients your body needed. It had some of them, but not all of them. You're calorie filled, but nutritionally unfulfilled. Because the food didn't have the minerals and the vitamins and the amino acids and the essential fatty acids that your body needed. It had some of them, but not all of them, and your body knows. Just like the animal's body knows. Your body has been nutritionally deficient your entire life. You have no idea what it's like to walk around with a nutritionally satisfied body. And when that happens, it's a game changer. So, the fundamental thing necessary to do in order to help anybody achieve a healthy body weight, fill up the tank. I mean, that's not rocket science. You give the body everything that it needs in recipes that it can absorb, in doses appropriate for your body weight. You get out of the way and you look to see what happens. This is the fundamental weight loss method that is unrecognized, unlooked, unseen rather, by everybody else in the world, including Oprah. So here's what happens, right? You go on Jenny Craig, you go on Weight Watchers, and it's a calorie-restricted diet program, right? So they have all these meal plans and these great things to eat, and you dial in 1,200 calories a day or whatever the number is, and you force yourself 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 and you lose weight because you're restricting calories. And remember, nobody in Auschwitz was overweight. Why? Because they didn't eat. Less calories, less weight. It's that simple. For 99% of the people. There are exceptions here which prove the rule. So, you dial in the calorie-restricted diet for 2 months, maybe 3 months, and you bring your willpower, and then you just can't handle it anymore. You wake up in the middle of the night, you raid the fridge, your willpower breaks down, and you eat, massive amounts of food, and you regain in 3 days the amount of weight that it took you to lose in 3 months. And then you gain a little bit more. And then you really do feel horrible about yourself because you gave it the old college try, but you failed. And you think, maybe I do have the fat gene, or maybe I really am depressed. Maybe I need some Prozac. Well, you don't need that. You need to get a clue. Because it was the wisdom of your body that forced you to eat. Because your body knew that it was running on nutrient fumes from the calorie-restricted diet. You were nutritionally deficient before you started the weight loss program, and the calorie restrictions made you more nutritionally deficient. Mother Nature comes a-knocking. You're never going to win the fight with Mother Nature. Never. So you abandon the diet and you gain back all the weight, and then you think that that's just life, and you look around and you see everybody on your block is overweight and you don't feel so bad about yourself. It's insanity, quite frankly, which has become so rampant in the culture now that Hollywood is producing movies where morbidly obese people are the main characters, and they're painted, they're as normal. Look, I've got compassion for people with arthritis and congestive heart failure and fibromyalgia and type 2 diabetes and obesity. It's a hard row to hoe, but it's not normal. It's a pathological state. It's a disease state. But the medical doctors have no idea what causes it, no idea how to fix it. It's a runaway train, so they've abandoned it completely. Oh, that's just life. You're overweight, it's just life. No, it's not. It's life from the conventional medical view, which is the wrong view. Medical doctors are like colorblind artists who don't know that they're colorblind. It's a problem which arches across much more than just obesity, but that's what we're talking about here in weight loss. So, here's what you need in order to fill the tank up. Here's the stuff you need to fill the tank up. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's only a matter of time until the good doctor told us the nutritional supplements because he's making bank on that. I don't make any money from the sale of these supplements, period. I've been doing this for 29 years. With my patients who come to see me at my private practice, I sell supplements when they're indicated, and I make money from that, but I don't make money from these. The people at Eiffel Health do, and I recommend you get these supplements from the people at Eiffel Health, because the people at Eiffel Health will tell you how to take them. They'll hold your hand. They'll give you diet ideas that you can do. They will help you to support and promote your body's built-in God-given ability to have a normal, healthy body weight. Here's the rundown, by the way. These 4 products will fill up your nutritional tank. And again, I've been practicing naturopathic medicine for 29 years now. And I've been around the block when it comes to nutritional supplements. I have access to nutritional supplements that you can only get as a doctor, made by companies you've never heard of. This stuff is the best stuff I've seen in 29 years of clinical experience, period. Somebody's got to be number one. Somebody's got to win the gold medal. Not all bottles of wine are the same, even though they're all made from grapes. There are some that are way better. There are some nutritional supplements that are way better than everything else, and these are the best I've ever seen. You can get them at Eiffel Health. Here's the list. Take a screenshot of this. Now, in a perfect world, I have no idea what your budget is, but in a perfect world, you would do 1 bottle of Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 powder, 1 bottle of Beyond Osteo FX powder, and 1 bottle of Prohoba Omega essential fatty acid capsules per 100 pounds per month. I mean, it just makes sense. It's going to take more nutrients to fill up a 300-pound body than it is to fill up a 100-pound body, right? By the way, ironically, interestingly, your dog or cat is more nutrified than you are, because the veterinarian industry figured this out decades ago, and they put everything that animal needs in that stuff. And, you know, the small dog recipe is different than the medium dog recipe is different than the large dog recipe, right? Well, it's the same with humans. But your medical insurance isn't going to pay for this. That's a whole nother conversation. So I don't know what your budget is. If you can afford it, then 1 bottle of the top 3 products here per 100 pounds per month. And then I don't care what you weigh, you get 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals a month. I don't care if you're 10 pounds or 5,000 pounds. 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals a month. Now, if you're 300 pounds and you can only afford the 200-pound dose of the top 3 products, do that, or you can only afford the 100-pound dose, do that. You need to start filling your tank up, and you need to do it yesterday. So, EiffelHealth.com, order this stuff. EiffelHealth.com, order this stuff, and the good people at Eiffel Health will give you a heads up on how to take it. There's 2 more things you need to do in order to secure a healthy body weight. This, however, is the most important. If you don't do this, everything else is futile. There are 12 foods which we have recognized as delivering net negative effects to the human body. You need to stop eating them, because these foods do 2 things. They impair the body, they hinder the body's ability to absorb nutrients from the food. They make it harder for your body to absorb nutrients. They damage your digestive tract, making it harder for your digestive tract to absorb the nutrients that are in the food, number 1, and number 2, they create inflammation. That's not a good thing, because you know what your body does when there's inflammation inside it? It produces cortisol. You know what happens when there's cortisol coursing through your blood? Your body creates fat. Ever seen anybody on prednisone or cortisone? They blow up like a blueberry. It's a side effect of the drug. Guess what cortisone and prednisone were modeled after? Cortisol in the human body. So when there's chronic inflammation in the body, your body's going to, as a result of that, manufacture fat. So we need to have an anti-inflammatory diet. Oh, here's the list. And by the way, you can watch a video that I produced which explains why these foods are bad. And you can get this list for free on my website, glidden.healthcare. Glidden.healthcare. So, number 1, eliminate the 12 bad foods. Just stop eating them. Number 2, go to EiffelHealth.com, get these supplements, and start taking them every day. And number 3, once you've done that, just do that for 90 days and see what happens to your weight. Just do that for 90 days. Don't count calories. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about exercising. You should be exercising every day, 15 minutes a day, if you're nutrified, by the way. If you're not nutrified and you exercise, you're going to burn through more of your reserves and your body's going to break down faster. Again, that's a lecture for another time. One of the worst things anybody can do is exercise in an undernutrified body. So, you stop the 12 bad foods, you fill up your nutritional tank for 90 days, and you see what happens to your weight. Oftentimes, usually, the ballpark figure is people lose 1 to 2 pounds a week when they do this. Now, maybe that's sufficient to the cause for you, right? So we do this for 90 days. And then, if at the 90-day mark you want to lose more weight, you dial in 1,000 calories a day, or 1,000 or 1,200 calories a day, period. Now, attempting to eat 1,200 calories a day in an undernutrified body running on fumes is impossible. You're jonesing for food. You can do it for a couple of months. You can bring your willpower to bear, but then Mother Nature comes a-calling and you abandon the discipline and you eat like a pig. And again, it's not your fault. It is a physiological craving. Eating a calorie-restricted diet in a nutritionally replete body, a nutritionally satisfied body, is not that hard to do. You can do it. It's much easier to do that when your body is nutritionally satisfied. And your body is not nutritionally satisfied now. It has never been nutritionally satisfied. That's why everybody's overweight. And that also is the fundamental cause of all chronic disease. I hope I made your head explode like 5 or 6 times during this, and I hope you stayed with me for the whole, 31 minutes now. This is compelling information. It's information only a handful of licensed physicians know, and even fewer have clinical experience with. Yours truly is one of them. I am your steadfast advocate for health, Dr. Peter Glidden. Get your health back now, because you can. God willing and the creek don't rise, I'll see you next time. In the meanwhile, what are you waiting for? Go to Eiffel Health right now and get started on your road to recovery.